Mutters under her breath to him, don't make it sexual. Just, rub it like, you're my dad. Because her mom was nearby. What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the tale, Nightingale? Thank you so much for joining me on another review of Love in Paradise. This episode is called Meet the Family. As we all know, Love in Paradise is a franchise of 90 Day Fiancé. So it's all about couples who live in different countries trying to get the K1 visa so they can start their life together as a married couple in the United States. And this particular series, the other party or the non-American party is living on some beautiful exotic island. So we're starting off with Martine and Steven. So it's the next morning. I think this is day 2. As we all know, Martine came to Barbados with a plan in mind. And her plan was to somehow convince Steven to propose marriage to her so they can start the K1 process and she can get her man into the United States. Now, Steven thinks that she's just there for another vacation. He has no idea that she's got this hidden agenda. So we are on day 2 of her visit in Barbados. So when they wake up in the morning, they're in their hotel suite and the camera zooms in to this lampshade that is next to their bed that looks all busted and broken and like it's been through some things. And Martine tells us that the night before, she got a little bit too acrobatic when her and Steven were having their adult activities and she knocked over the lamp. So the plan for that day is to take Steven's daughter, Sarai, to the monkey sanctuary. Now, Steven has this little girl. She's 6 years old, and he shares custody with her mother. And from all accounts, it seems like Sarai and Martine have established a pretty good relationship. The little girl loves Martine. Martine loves Sarai. The little girl is excited to see her, and the little girl says in her own little confessional, she says, every time that she sees Martine, she knows that she's going to have the best time of her life. And Steven tells us that he has never brought another female around his daughter other than Martine. So it just shows how much he is serious about Martine because that's a big thing to bring someone around your daughter because you don't want your children to get attached to people who are not going to be in your life for a long time or people that you're not really serious with. So that says, a lot about how he feels about Martine. So when they are at the monkey sanctuary, Martine starts asking the little girl things like, do you like it when me and your daddy are together? And the little girl says yes. Do you want to see more of me? And the little girl says yes. Do you want to see me and your daddy getting married? The little girl says yes. So and the little girl is always hugging on her, and her and Martine are very affectionate with one another. So they're very, very close. And so it seems like it's believable that, the little girl knows exactly what Martine is talking about and that she probably is answering honestly, that she would like to see Martine and Steven get married. But in his confessional, Steven says that he doesn't like it whenever Martine drops these hints to his daughter because, he says it's really annoying. It's very annoying. It's like, she's passive aggressively or indirectly trying to drop these hints to him, but she's doing it through the little girl. And also, I don't think Martine should be doing that because, you don't want to set expectations in a child that cannot be fulfilled. So unless Martine herself knows for a fact that her and Steven are on the path to marriage and she has that ring on her finger and the K1 visa paperwork has started, she really should not start these conversations about having this really long-term relationship with Steven when, they might break up before she even leaves Barbados. And so, but she's not done yet. So, Martine asks Steven, at the monkey sanctuary, she's asking him if he ever thought about having more children. And Steven kind of, he kind of hesitates a little bit. And he was like, well, no, not really. Not right now. Maybe sometime, far, far away into the future, in a faraway galaxy, in another lifetime, maybe, but no, definitely not now. And so, here we go. Martine tells a little girl, she's like, would you like to have a little brother or sister? And the little girl says, yes, a little sister. And I was just like, Martine, no. I don't know if this child is an only child on her mother's side, but if she is, and if she ever wanted siblings, now you're planting the seed in her mind of the possibility of her having a sibling, and you don't don't know exactly what the future holds between you and Steven, because if you did, you wouldn't have to talk through a child to figure out what you wanted from him. You and him would have that conversation directly. So it was just, she was laying it on way too thick. And I agree with Steven that she should not have brought in the little girl into, you know, into that those kind of questions and that kind of conversation with the child. It was just wrong. So Stephen had never met Martine's parents after 3 years of marriage, and Martine talks about how she feels the pressure to have her parents proud of her, to make sure that her parents are happy with whoever she chooses to be with. And she knows that her parents may not be crazy about Stephen because he's so unlike what they expected her. He's so unlike the type of guy they expected her to be with. Excuse me. And so I think it's the next day or later on that day, I don't know about the time frame, they go cave exploring. So they're going to go explore an underwater, or it's not underwater, but it's like a below sea level cave. It's nothing underwater, but it is below sea level, I think. I'm not really sure. So they go into the cave, and it's really beautiful, and they're exploring around the cave, and there's a guide there with them. And Martine asks the guide if anyone has ever gotten married in the cave. And so here we go again with these marriage hints. Now, by this time, Stephen has figured out what Martine's agenda is that, you know, she wants to get some type of confirmation that they're in a committed relationship and that they're going to get married. That is what she's looking for. So he's already figured that out. And so she's asking the guide, you know, has anyone ever gotten married in the cave? And the guy's like, yeah, a lot of people have got, or yeah, he's had a couple of people, who have decided to get married in the cave. And Martine explains, oh, well, what did I write? Martine, proposal she wants to introduce even. Oh, okay. So, they talk about, they talk about Stephen meeting her parents. And Stephen has always wondered why, after 3 years of dating, Martine has never introduced him to her parents. And he's wondered if Martine was ashamed of him in some way. And I don't know if Martine is necessarily ashamed of him, but she knows that this is not what her parents, he's not the kind of person her parents expect her to be with. And so she is very apprehensive about him meeting her parents. So later on that night, she decides to have a FaceTime call between her parents and Stephen. And so, he's kind of nervous. She's definitely nervous. And as soon as the parents get on the FaceTime, her parents are, she mentions how her parents are like dressed and like real professionally, as if, they mean business with this meeting with Stephen. And so the parents come on and they ask him, so what do you do? And he says he's a DJ. And the parents are like, okay. And he tells them how, he does party planning and DJing and all that stuff. And the parents are like, so, when you're a DJ, you're working most of the time at night. So what do you do in the daytime? And he says that he perfects his craft and he goes to the gym. And I think Martine, it was at this time that she mutters under her breath to him. She's like, I don't think that's the answer they were expecting. They want him to say something like either he works a regular job during the daytime or he's in school during the daytime, but not pumping iron and playing with his records. And so then the parents ask, what is your long-time plan? And he says that him and Martine are still in discussion about that. So the mom says, okay, so there's no commitment in the future. And then, what can he say? And so later on, Martine is like, she wants to know if Stephen has any thought about committing to her. Oh, this was in her confessional. She's like, I want to know if he has any plans to commit, to make a future with me, or am I just, a girl that he's in a relationship with whenever I come down for vacation and that's it, like a vacation girlfriend. Moving on to to Sherlon and Ariana. Now, out of all the couples on this show, Sherlon and Ariana probably to me are the saddest because she's pregnant. She's going to have a baby. And it's just so sad to me. It's sad. So she's in her on her third day in Jamaica, and in this particular scene, her mother, and Sherlon are on the beach, and Sherlon is they're on the beach, and they're sitting on those beach lounge chairs, and she needs to take off her shoes, or she takes off her sandals or something. I don't know if she asked him to rub her feet or what, but he was gonna rub her feet, and when he saw her feet, this man almost passed out. He couldn't believe how big and swollen her feet were. And it's like, yeah, she's pregnant. Yes, she's going to have swollen feet. And he was just like, amazed by how big her feet were. And in his confessional, he said that he had heard about her having really bad swollen feet, but it was something else to actually see them. He was like, he couldn't believe how big her feet were. And so he feels bad that, and he cleaned it up, because at first it was kind of rude. Like, he was talking about how huge her swollen feet were. And then it was kind of like, okay, where is this going? She's pregnant with your child and her body's going through changes. But then he cleaned it up, and he said that he did feel really bad that he wasn't there with her for the first 6 months to take care of her properly. So he's rubbing sunscreen on her, and she mutters under her breath to him, don't make it sexual. Just, rub it like, you're my dad. Because her mom was nearby. And he's like, what is so sexual about rubbing sunscreen on someone's back? He's like, I'm not going to act like that in front of her mother and in public. He's like, no, I'm not that kind of person. He says anything like that, any type of intimate interaction is, strictly private. He's a very private person. He doesn't do that public display of affection. That's just not him. So he's rubbing sunscreen on her. And then, the mom, Miss Karen, wants to have a one-on-one with Sherlon. And so they go off somewhere. Not somewhere. They're still on the beach, but they kind of go a little bit away from Ariana to have this private conversation. And basically she wants to know, what are your intentions? What are your plans for the future? You have a baby coming. So, what's up? And he says that he would like to be there for the birth, but the embassies are closed, because of COVID. And so he cannot even apply for a visitor visa or a tourist visa. He just can't do it because the embassies are closed. And so then the mom is like, okay, fine or whatever, but what about the future? K-1 visa, coming to America, Eddie Murphy. And he's like, well, if we get the K-1 visa, we're going to have to get married in 90 days. And she's like, yeah. And so he's like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. I don't know. He says, we need to take time to get to know each other. And in his confessional, he says, I totally respect her mom for asking me these questions, because I'm just some dude who knocked up her daughter when her daughter was here on vacation. So she wants to know, what's going on. And so these are the situations that really kind of make me sad, because she and Ariana and Sherlon, they had a fling, and they were not using their mind. They were not using their brains, and he got her pregnant, and it's just really sad. And I kind of want to say to Ariana, girl, don't hold your breath with this Sherlon guy. He's in a whole nother country. You got pregnant on a fling. It wasn't like y'all were in a relationship where he has some type of duty, to be with you. And I'm like, don't have a lot of expectations. Now you're talking about the K-1 visa and bringing this man back to the United States with you, and you want to marry. You don't even know this guy. And I just wish that people would just be so much more cautious when they decide to have their flings, because you can have all the flings that you want in the world with however many people you want to have a fling with. But please, people, let's practice safe sex, because she doesn't need to be in this situation. You don't know this man. This man does not know you. And already her family has put this burden on him of basically, are you going to marry her? Are you going to hurry up, marry her, come back to the United States and, start this family, live this life with her? It's like he doesn't know this woman. She doesn't know this man. They have no idea how compatible they are. And now there's a baby involved that's going to need both parents. And now he's in Jamaica. She's in Michigan or Illinois. And it's so much confusion and so much uncertainty and so much heartache. And he's very much like, whatever will be, we'll figure it out when we get to it. And the mom is like, I need a plan. I need a spreadsheet. I need a commitment. I need details of what you're going to be doing tomorrow, the day after that. I need to know everything. And the mother says, she made a kind of a good point when she says, I need this information because I will be playing his role until he's able to marry my daughter and come live with her and take over being the father of this child. Until that happens, that burden is on me. My daughter's going to be depending on me. And so it makes me so angry. Like, Sherlon, what are you doing? Shooting up the club, knowing that you can get all these women impregnated, and you're just out there just carelessly. Like, why? Why? Now there's a child that's going to need both parents, and who knows what the future holds of him coming to the United States, of them staying together. Who the hell knows? It's just really sad. So then Ariana talks to her mother, and Ariana says that, she wants to start the K-1 visa, and I don't know why. You don't know this man. You were just on vacation. You were on vacation, and you had a couple of nights stand, and now you're talking about the K-1 visa? For real? Anyways, so she's talking to her mom about starting the K-1 visa so that if he can't be there for the birth, at least he can be there soon after the baby's born. And so the mom says that, Sherlon was very wishy-washy when she herself brought up the K-1 visa to him. He acted like, he wasn't really feeling it. And then Ariana doesn't want to force it. She doesn't want to, put a lot of pressure on him about the K-1 visa. And I'm like, so what are you doing here? If you're so afraid to have these conversations with him, and you don't want him to know how desperate you are to have him go back with you and to marry him and whatever, at least for him to be there for the birth of the baby. If you don't want him to know that because you don't want to put this pressure on him, then what are you doing? What are you doing there? What are you doing in Jamaica? So she tells her mom, I really don't want to force him because I don't want him to do it out of, what were you trying to say, Ariana? You don't want him to do it out of a sense of responsibility. You want him to do it because he's so head over heels in love with you. You don't want him to have that feeling of, I need to... Anyways, so she's like, yeah, I don't want to pressure him because I don't want him to come to America and then he's miserable the whole time. And her mom says, you are more worried about his feelings than he is about yours. And the mom said that the only thing that he is sure of is that he really wants to be a father. He really does want to be a father. And the way the mom said it, and I know that she didn't mean this at all, but it made me think that this man is just happy about having a baby. He doesn't care who he's having a baby with. He's just happy that he's going to have a child. He could care less who the mother is. And so the mom asked her, do you get the vibes that he's really into you, that he really wants to be with you? And Ariana's like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, I don't get that vibe at all from him at all. And so then Ariana says that, in her confessional, she says that Sherlon is not really making a good impression on her mom. No, not on her mom, not on us, not on anybody else with eyeballs. And Ariana she wishes that he could be like, yes, Ariana, I'll come to the United States with you. I'll move hell and high water. I'll swim across the ocean. I'll turn over all the embassies. I'll do whatever I got to do to come and live with you in the United States and take care of you and her child. But he's not giving those vibes. And so she's worried. Yeah, Ariana, you should be worried because you had a one-night stand. You got pregnant from a one-night stand and you're expecting too much from your fling. He didn't go into this, and I'm not saying that it's her fault. I'm not saying it at all. But when a woman becomes pregnant by a man and there's no sense of commitment in the relationship, the responsibility of the child is going to automatically, by default, fall on her. Because the man has the option to come and go as he pleases. You can't tie him up and force him to live with you and force him to be a father. So you're the one that's carrying the child. You're the one that has to prepare for the child. And you're the one that has to make those hard decisions. You got to make a hard decision at the beginning of the pregnancy. You have to make a hard decision when the child is born. Are you going to keep the baby? Are you going to leave the hospital with the baby? And of course, most mothers are going to be like, yeah, I want to keep my child and I want to take my child home. So, okay, you take the child home. So automatically, by default, you are the main caretaker of the child. So Okay, so she's like, she's so worried about she doesn't want to be a statistic. She keeps saying this in the first episode and in this episode. She keeps talking about how, she's got this, deathly fear of being a statistic. And it's like, girl, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You just worry about you being in the best frame of mind and in the best emotional and mental state to be there for this child. And I want to tell her, forget about Sherlon, but whatever. So, she's like, I don't want to be a single mom with a baby daddy that's not really present. Then you should have thought about what you were doing when you're having your flings. There's nothing wrong with you having a fling with this hot Jamaican guy. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Do what you got to do. But you got to think about the consequences of those flings. So you should have just been safer about it. That's all. Children are a blessing no matter what. But you should have just been safer about it. And you wouldn't have been in this predicament. So good luck to Ariana. Okay, Kay and Mark. So Kay and Mark, it's their second night together. They wake up in the morning. Okay, we get the obligatory, oh my God, last night was so amazing. Okay, whatever. And so then, low key, Kay looks a lot older than Mark, but he's older than her, but she looks a lot older than him. So they decide to go jet skiing. They go jet skiing. He gives her a gift, and the gift was a flag of California. And in her confessional, she says that Mark is the sweetest man. He's a good partner. So she really enjoys her time with him. She's got nothing but, raving reviews about Mark. And, Mark is really serious about talking about the future. So they're sitting on the beach and he really wants to have a deep conversation about their future. And Kay tells him, no, that's not me. I'm not that kind of person to be talking about the future. She says, look, I went through a hard time. And she talks about her drug addiction to ketamine. I finally figured out finally heard what that was. So she was very addicted to ketamine. She says that the first time she took it, it gave her this, I guess like a really wonderful feeling, and she was addicted. And she would wake up at 3:00 in the morning to take this drug when she was in the like deepest throes of her addiction. And so when she finally got over it and she got better and she got clean, she said that she felt like she had a second chance at life. And so now she doesn't live for tomorrow. She only lives for today. Each day to her is a blessing. It's a gift. And she just wants to revel in the now and not think about tomorrow. And so she tells him, I love you, but please don't rush me. So later on, they go to the lounge where they met. What is it called? I wrote it down, but I can't even read my handwriting. So, okay, they met at some lounge. And so they go on a boat ride back to the lounge where they met, and they figure out where they have their first kiss, and it's all cute and romantic. And they meet up, Aqua Lounge. That's what it's called, Aqua Lounge. So they meet up with Nick, which was an old friend of Mark when he was living in Bocas. And Nick is still there, and they hadn't seen each other in 10 years, and so they get together. So Kay goes off to go do her thing to leave the two men alone to talk. And so they're talking. And one of the things that comes up is that Mark tells his friend Nick that him and Kay have a note. What is it called? A don't ask, don't tell relationship. So they basically have this agreement that because he's in one country, she's in another, they have this agreement that they're not going to ask each other or talk about if they're dating someone else. That's just going to be off topic. And so Nick is like, well, now that you want to have something more serious, are you going to continue that? And he's like, he's not really sure because Kay doesn't like having deep conversations, so he doesn't really know. And so Nick was like, well, if I were you, I don't know if I could handle that, the thought of my woman being with another man when I'm not with her. And so then we also find out that Kay was previously married, and Mark doesn't have much information about that. So he does want to find out more about her previous marriage. Kay had just given him like the bare minimum information. She was married for a year. It didn't work out. They got a divorce. And that's basically all he knows. But he wants to know more. And so his friend basically tells him, you got time to get to the bottom of everything that you need to know. So, don't be hesitant, get the information that you need to make the decision that you need to make with Kay. So that's them. Moving on, Daniel and Amber, Costa Rica. So Daniel and Amber are meeting up with Daniel's brother, David. So they're meeting up with him. This was a very comical conversation. I see Amber's going to make me chuckle. So Oh, Lord have mercy. So, David is really, I mean, excuse me, Daniel is very worried about, going to America because he's going to be leaving his brother behind. And his brother, David, is also worried about that. His brother is like, we've never been apart and I don't want you to leave me because I'm going to be all alone here. But I think they live with their mom, I think. So then Daniel tells Amber that he has plans to bring his brother and his mom to the United States. And Amber's kind of like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, that's my plan is when I go to America, I want to bring my family along as well. And then Amber's like, well, who's going to do the paperwork for them? Because Lord knows you're not, because you haven't done your own paperwork. And so now she starts with the whole I hate it when women feel the need to cry to get what they want. It's like this is 2021. This is not the 1800s where every time a woman, would start crying, men would just, go do their beck and call. Stop it with the tears. Stop. If you want something, if you don't want something, use your words, not your tears. So she starts with the crying, like, I guess, I don't know what, but he's like, hey, that's my plan is to bring my family, my brother and my mother to America with me. And then, Amber is like, so she's like, oh, she's got the tears in her eyes. And so she's like, but this is supposed to be our moment. Why can't you worry about me? Why are you worried about other people? And so Daniel says, well, when I get to America and I work really hard, that's what I want to do. And then Amber's like, well, you know that you're in debt to me. And he's like, yeah, I know. And that right there, when she said that, you're in debt to me. I didn't like her. I didn't like her at all. I was like, almost done with Amber. What does that mean? He's in debt to you. So every time you spend money on him, you're keeping a tally so that he can pay you back, and pay you back how? You see, he quit his job. When he gets to America on the K-1 visa, he can't work for a certain period of time. So every time that you spend a penny on this man, you're keeping track so he can pay you back. Honey, that's not a relationship. That's what you call an indentured servant. Like, what are you doing? I thought this was a relationship. I thought you were in love with this man and you wanted him to be your husband. So what is this stuff about, you're indebted to me? I didn't like that at all. Like, it's like a power thing now where she feels like she's so superior over him because she's an American and she's the one working. Amber, why don't you just get with the man wherever in the world you want? Just get with the man who's already established. What are you doing with this little boy? Okay, so she says, well, you're in debt to me. And then David says, well, maybe when I move, David, the brother, in his confessional, he was bold. He says in his confessional, when I move to America, I'm expecting Amber to help me with money and to give me money, just like the way she's doing with my brother Daniel. And then Amber, in her confessional, she ends it with, does he even love me, or am I just his sugar mama? Wouldn't you have wanted to figure that out, Amber, before you started spending money on him? And wouldn't you have wanted to figure that out before, if this was a real... And another thing, when I watch Amber and Daniel together, the dynamic between them, it is so parental. It is so parent-child. It's not like a man and a woman in a relationship. It's obvious that she's way older than him. It's obvious that he hasn't peaked at his maturity level yet. It is obvious that she is controlling him, that she is in full control of this relationship. She's very bossy to him. She's very condescending to him. She talks down to him. She doesn't treat him like a man. She just treats him like an object. Like he's just there for one thing. And, that's all she sees in him is just that one thing that he can do for her properly, because he can't take care of her. He can't really communicate with her. He can't relate to her. So he's only there for that one thing. And if you know, you know. And so she's going to do whatever she's got to do to take this, basically anyways, so you can tell that the power dynamic between them, it's not even, it's not equal at all, and it's a little bit disgusting. So that's my review of Love in Paradise. Thank you so much for joining me once again. I've gone too long. I really do appreciate that if you stayed this whole 30 minutes. I appreciate you more than you ever know. Thank you so much. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will most definitely talk to you later. Bye bye.